Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Zolan and Akram. For today's review, we are discussing Hulu's new installment in the Predator franchise, Prey, starring Amber Midthunder. I liked it. I thought it was a very awesome new movie for the franchise, which has suffered from a lot of bad sequels, unfortunately. But before I get to my thoughts, Akram, I know you're a big follower of the franchise. Tell me what you thought about it.
Yeah, man, this is honestly one of my favorite Predator movies now. Predators kind of was my favorite movie, but now like this took over, and even Predators was like mid, as you always say. This one was pretty cool. I think I added value to the franchise, and I can't wait for like sequels to come. So yeah, let's just get started.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was great. It didn't feel too much like a Predator movie, and I think that added a lot to it. It felt like this spectacle that just happened to have the Predator in it. I think Amber Midthunder, she was really good as Naru, the main protagonist. And it was such a good, accurate depiction of like Native American culture, and it was such like a good period piece. Like you and I were talking earlier, like I wish like the Predator franchise had did like an anthology series where like they kind of explore like the histories of like the predators, like relationship with like Earth and like other planets and stuff. But I think this was really awesome. It reminded me so much of, like The Revenant, with Leo DiCaprio. I think it was such like a good like survivalist story. Um, but what did you think of like Naru's journey like in this movie?
Oh, I think that the Predator completely complemented it. You know, the whole thing was the Predator is so feral, and the fact that she could never prove herself, and especially being a woman, she was a really strong female character and proved everyone wrong. And the one who she chose to really go after, where she failed with the mountain lion and where she failed kind of with the bear, it was the Predator itself, and it made her a really strong character. I really loved her character a lot here. I love the journey that she took. It's weird because you think a Predator movie is supposed to be really about the predators themselves, but no, this one was more about self-discovery and pushing the boundaries and discovering your talents and skills and how much courage you have and how much of a great hunter you can be once you're pushed. So amazing. Yeah. What did you
Yeah, I
think?
agree. I think that's why the last movie suffered a lot, was because they tried to explore the predator's origins too much, and it was kind of like dry. Because the predator movies like themselves have always been about the hunt. It's always been like about, because the predator is always the main antagonist, but he kind of like shows like the worst of humanity, because everybody he hunts always has like, these like dangerous skills, or like they're like mercenaries or stuff. But even here, like in this movie, like Naru, like I think like what you said was true. Like he's such a foil to her, because it felt like they were like on two like the same path, kind of like they were trying to prove themselves. Like for Naru, this was like her first real hunt, like to prove that she was like a capable hunter in her tribe. And for the predator, I mean, we were going back and forth. I kind of thought it was like his first hunt, but maybe it was like just to prove himself to his own tribe as well. So I think that was really cool, and like you can see like the parallels like with them, like they're they're hunting, and like they're also like stitching their wounds up. So like you saw like back and forth shots. And I like seeing like the predator like go through his own journey as well. Like the like his challenges started like escalating. So like he started off with like a like rattlesnake, right? And then he moved on to like a wolf and a bear, and eventually like he moves on to like human beings, because like they're the top of the food chain. So I thought that was really interesting, and I love the cinematography of this movie. I know they've been trying for a long time, and the director tried to push this movie for a long time before the Disney Fox merger. So he kind of pitched this idea a long time ago, but I'm glad to see it into to fruition. But how do you think it holds up? Like compared to, I guess, whatever your favorite Predator movie is.
Yeah, I think it's in its own section when you try to compare these, because this one cuts deeper. The other ones were basically the same. It's just rather than a spectacle. I mean, you could see this through like a cosmetic standpoint and just say it's an action flick that looks a lot like the other ones. But no, there are so many elements that again cut a lot deeper. The other ones were just like plain old action for me. And some of them were like really cheesy. That's why I think me and you really like Predators a lot. It's it's weird because mostly because the human characters, I'd say, and there were so many of them. And when you have like Predator One, I think Predator One for a lot is the OG, of course, right? But I think you could put this up in the same level as Predator One. I actually prefer this movie more than Predator One. And anyway, it kind of seems like this is like a little bit of a soft reboot, but yet like tying into like Predator Two with the flintlock and the time period. But what like which how would you compare it?
Well, yeah, I've always been a devout follower of the series. I think Predators was my favorite movie as well because of the human element too. That's actually like one of the few times where like getting humans involved actually made it work because they were all like bad guys basically, and they were trying to like survive. They were like killing each other as well as the predators. But I also like the AVP movies too. Well, at least AVP one. The second one was like questionable, but I always enjoyed like the depiction of like the predators. I think that's really where it started was like their journey on Earth, and like even though it's not canon now, like I remember they were talking about like how they've been here for like years and they kind of like were worshipped as like gods. I always thought that was like a cool like little story element that like tied in with the crossover. And the comics too, like they show like the predators' relationships with the humans like for centuries and well into the future as well. So for this movie, the director even said like this is of like an early predator, like well obviously because it's 300 years before the events of like the first movie and all the other ones to come. But we see this predator. He's very like you said feral. He's more primal, and we see like early like stages of his weaponry. Like he was very like melee style weapon. Like he even had like a bow and arrow kind of like projectile shooter. We were talking about like it's different from like the bowcaster. Um, I feel like a little bit like he was like a little bit sloppier than previous predators to come, but I think that added also to the story because it's like he's not the predator that we know. He's like a different breed, kind of like he's more because at this time we don't know much about the predators' relationships with the humans. Like maybe they've never had. Well, I think the director said like this is the first time they've had contact with humans, and we saw like at the end credits they keep coming back to Earth after this encounter, so they start learning from the humans, and I thought that was really interesting. But what did you think about like this movie as far as like part of like the franchise and the continuity?
Yeah, I would love to see if fate decides to have each predator come down to Earth on a mission to hunt certain humans, but it ends up like, for example, like a samurai period, and that predator is more of like a stalker, more of like a sniper or a ghost. They consider him to be a ghost or something. Here, with me and you were talking a lot. Like I keep comparing him to the bear, because the bear was so scarred, and so sloppy and so strong and aggressive, right? And so this predator was a lot like that. And so again, I think it was really compelling for Naro to hunt this predator. And I think that adds something to possible sequels down the line. I think that would be cool. You're kind of facing yourself in a mirror, or you're facing this nightmare that you have to overcome, and I think that's really spiritually that's really empowering. And I think that's how you add value to the predator movies rather than just making it like a monster hunt, even if those are fun. But then it kind of adds more value than the Alien franchise too, because they were just monsters and you had to survive this onslaught of them. So I think they're going in a good direction by doing this. I think that me and you were talking so many ideas that they could do. I think they should implement that completely. Although it is canon to Predator 1 and 2, and we know how what happened in those films. I wonder what's the next step. Like, how are you going to reintroduce the Predator after Predator 1 and 2? I'm not sure if the other Predators were canon. It's hard, it's like really mixed mashy. It's kind of like Michael Myers, you don't
It's
really know
yeah,
where they
I agree.
stand.
It's hard to keep it fresh, and I think what was refreshing about this film was because it felt so primal.
Yeah.
Where in the other Predator films, they were kind of like dealing with like modern day like people, but I think this one like I think it was more of a period piece actually than a sci-fi thriller too. I think it was really
Yeah.
interesting seeing like somebody. I think it was interesting seeing like people that aren't as advanced as modern day humans are deal up with this threat. And it's kind of like a coming of age film too for Naru. Like I feel like this was her journey, like, towards, like, a, bigger step in her life, and I thought the humans really worked well in this, movie, 'cause if in some movies, like, in some a lot of horror movies, actually, like, the humans always tend to be, like, really annoying, or, like, really stupid. But I felt like in this film, they were actually like I was actually invested a lot in like
Right.
Naru and her brother. I love just like seeing like the Comanche tribe and like the representation. I kind of wish like they actually did the whole like movie in the Navajo language, but there is a dub version of this movie, so I might rewatch it. But I thought it was a little weird, like they would talk Navajo and then like go back to like
Yeah.
fluent English, and then like
Yeah.
the trapper guys would speak like fluent English. I guess they have to cater to like some people, like, but it's weird because like I've seen like entire movies where they just like talk like foreign languages, so it's like they couldn't just like put subtitles or something. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, any overall thoughts on this movie and how would you rate it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It is pretty weird. I wonder how like blockbuster, especially how trends happen and stuff like that. I wonder if they're gonna start making a change for blockbuster films to be more authentic with language and whatnot. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I from the early reviews I've read, everyone loved it too. I think a lot of elements, a lot of iconic lines, you know, there was elements in the film where it warranted those iconic lines, like "If it bleeds, we could kill it." I felt like a lot of those things were very natural. I think a lot of things here was very natural. I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. What would you give it?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. 9 out of 10 for me. Just because it felt so different and not cheesy like the last movie or the previous iterations. It felt so cinematic for me. Like I love the score of this film. Like the music really hits hard. I love like the shots of like the landscapes and like the environment. It felt like you were like really like in this time, in this period, and you were kind of like on this journey with Naru. And the actress herself, I thought she was phenomenal as the protagonist. And yeah, it does like have like little tropes from some of the older movies, like that. I was thinking of that scene where they were hiding in the field, and it kind of reminded me with Mac and Dylan were hiding in the log, and he was like shh, and they were like looking at the
Right.
predator. But yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. I think the director did a phenomenal job of revamping this series. If more movies like this follow, I'll definitely like be more invested back into this franchise because I feel like they've been kind of like slipping lately. Um, but yeah, I would give it 9 out of 10 definitely. But finish off with your final thoughts, Akram.
Yeah, guys, so that's our review for Prey. If you made it to the end, please give us a like and subscribe. Check out our other playlists. We have plenty of reviews, movie reviews especially, and we're going to be reviewing Sandman. You can expect that video to drop Sunday at the time of this recording. We have exciting content coming out. We have plenty of reactions. We might do our another revisited episode for Avatar, which is going to be fun. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of unique stuff coming up too. So as always, check out the channel, check out all our videos. We're reaching how many, Dylan? We're reaching like I think 107 right now,
Close
which is
to,
pretty
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, finish us off, Dylan.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate, all your support for this channel. Season 4, we got a lot of big things coming up. Like Akram said, we got like Sandman, we have House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, so much great content, She-Hulk coming. So please follow us on whatever platform you can, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anything helps our channel grow daily. Anchor, of course. But yeah, thank you again for tuning into our review. And until then, thank you for having lunch with us.
See you guys.